and I am coming to you from Yakima, Washington. I'm out here for the Wall Portrait Conference, but I wanted to jump on and do this little webinar with you. So I'm over here in Yakima. Rudy is in Columbus and walking me through all this, so it's kind of exciting for me to be doing this. It's a great conference. I've been visiting with Don McGregor and Gregory Daniel, John Wolfe last night, and of course the Brashears have been a big part of this, and David Hilton. So it's been a great time. But I wanted to take this time to just visit with you about the 11 steps to top dollar portrait sales, and this is very exciting. So let's give it maybe just a little minute and then we'll start. It's a little close to the time of starting, but I'm excited to have all of you here. This is going to be a really great thing. I have had so many comments, even from the people that are here, of how the Show Me sales and the stuff that I've been visiting with them about has been changing their lives. We've got some people that are our clients and that have really been so encouraging to me about what a difference it's really made in their life. So let's kind of get started here. Now, why are you here? It's okay to say you suck at sales, but really no better time than now to admit it and decide to get better at it. And it's only after I admitted that I sucked at sales and that I needed help that I could really move on and start to make a change. This is really exciting, but we have to stay focused. So please turn off your cell phone, get paper and pencil, because you're going to want to write this stuff down. Download the worksheets that I've attached, and they're over on the right-hand side, and you can download those. Just click on that download for the work button. But this is exciting because you're going to have the 11 steps to up your sales average. My mantra is to have something different, I have to do something different. And so I really had to rethink and retrain my life and my sales. You're going to find yourself shortly at a crossroad where you're going to have to make that same decision. And no matter if you're a one-person on-location photographer or a multi-person studio, I ask you to play all in for the next 60 minutes because you can choose to have this change your life. As I've been coaching and coming alongside photographers over the last 10 years, my mission with this has become to help you to really improve your life and achieve the goals that you want. Because if you should and you could, but you don't, that really is a formula for regret. Sean Penn says it wonderfully. He says there's a lot of mediocrity being celebrated and a lot of wonderful stuff being ignored or discouraged. And I believe that's true, but why is that? Because it's so normal to be average. It's like everybody's doing it, so we just end up staying where we're at, whether that's where we should be or not. So here's my promise to you. Today, I'm going to show you how in-person sales can give you a $4,000, $6,000, or even a $10,000 sale without the fear, the anxiety, or that confrontation. You're going to have the 11 steps to really up your sales average, and you're going to hear what you can do to have your clients know, like, and trust you. And this rapport, it creates a relationship that really allows them to relax and be, really ready to buy. Clark and I, we've built a 7-figure studio entirely from selling in person. And I share this and tell you this because I really believe that those we learn from need to be real. And we have put 4 kids through college. We've saved for a great retirement. We pay health insurance and we purchase cars and property solely from the money we make in our studio. And I'm going to show you how you can replicate that in any town. All right, for example, here's a few comments I've received from people. Lisa said, some of the best sales tips I ever got from you. That's awesome. And Tom he travels for the White House Custom Color, and I so thank him for sharing this with me. He said, I was visiting with a client who credited you and your sales program with saving their business. I don't think you know how much you help the people in this industry. And that is so warming to hear, because that's exactly what I want to be able to help people with. And Jerry wrote that in 12 years, he never had a full pallet of frames because he never sold that many wall portraits. Are you excited? Wouldn't you love to see a pallet of frames showing up at your door because you were selling so many wall portraits? I love that people are taking action to have something different, to have something better. I first met Carla here when I spoke at Imaging USA, and she sat right down in the front row and was so focused on watching me. Well, I later found out that she's deaf, and she was reading my lips. She came to our Texas school class. It was funny because she came up to me at the break and she said, when you walk down the aisle, she said, I can't read your lips, so please stay in the front. Well, anyway, she's become a real action taker. Look there, she's got a $5,000 sale. This is totally possible. Are you guys getting this? Does this excite you? This could happen for you. And these are regular people. And I've been teaching photographers how to get higher sales for the last 20 years, just sharing what I do and helping people move past those blocks. I've taught at Imaging, and Sync, and WPPI, Texas School. We've done photo vision, not to mention, countless state and, regional stuff. And really, as Rudy starts to take over the studio, I've kind of started a new chapter in my life, and it's inspiring others, helping others create their futures and their breakthroughs, because I had so many breakthroughs. I think of it, it's, no one thought you could do the 4-minute mile. Forever they just said it's impossible. And then Roger Bannister in 1954 broke the 4-minute mile. And after that, lots of people are doing it. And it's because now they know it can be done. I want this to be your 4-minute mile, that you can see that I've done it, and so can you. So, okay, let's dig in. We asked people just like you, what was their biggest struggle with sales? So we could really get a grip on this. And the top answers were, I don't have a system and I wing it every time. I'm anxious and scared before my sales session. I don't know what to say if they have an objection, or sales completely just overwhelms me. I don't know where to start. Would you agree with these? What would you say is your biggest struggle? Over there on the side, there's that little chat area. Type in there, in that little chat area, if you would agree with these, or if you've got different struggles. I want to know what your frustrations are, because these are things that I really want to be covering. So type that stuff in there so that I can see it. Are you typing? Okay. So, all right, that's all right. Agree. Everybody's agreeing. So, okay, what is in-person sales? It's really become a buzzword in the last 5 years. When I first heard IPS, I didn't get it. I'm like, IPS, in-person sales, isn't that what I've been doing for the last 20 years? What's the big hubbub about? This isn't really anything new. But what I know is that in-person sales doesn't work without a system. I've seen what other people are teaching and shouting from the mountaintops about IPS, but it still will only produce average sales, not the type that's going to put kids through college or pay for health insurance or, retirement, independent of that second job. Even winging it in-person sales is not going to get the results that you want. And if it defeats you and your confidence, that doesn't do you any good. It really perturbs me when these things are happening, because I really feel that people are teaching how to be average or how to be mediocre, and shouting, that, yeah, it's okay not to live to your potential. I just don't want that. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. And I certainly don't want that for anybody on here. So the system it's everything, because it shows me what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it every time. Would you agree that, you know, you really run into the same frustrations in your sales appointments over and over? If that's you, you're probably nodding your head up and down. Well, type yes, yes in that chat area. If you've ever been frustrated with the same thing over and over, and you just think, why is this happening to me again? And when those things happen, it becomes so frustrating that we become filled with fear. And that is the problem that we need to overcome. So right in that little chat area, yes, yes, okay, that's great. Well, I've tried to sell portraits other ways. You know what? It just didn't pay. So I continued to sell in person because it converts sales. It's not uncommon for me to get a $6,000, a $10,000, or even a $20,000 sale. And it's the best way to build value, which takes the decision away from price. And it's the easiest way to really give me control. I knew for me to do this on a daily basis like I do, that it had to be simple, but it had to be real, because I want my clients to really love the process as much as they love their portraits. I really have fun creating relationships with our clients. I'm not so anxious or nervous because now I have a system and I can relax and have fun because I feel confident in what I'm doing, and the system runs the same every time. This works so well that Clark teases me and calls me Sugar Mama. So our agenda today is I'm going to share with you the power of a system and how it magically eliminates that fear, that anxiety of the unexpected. Really, every great sale average is based on these 11 steps. Okay, I'm kind of running behind, but I want to let you know that at the end, I've got a special surprise for you. So please stay to the end. But first, I want to share, you know, life wasn't always so good. Our 4 kids were born in 3.5 years. Rudy, then 20 months later came Jake and Abby, and then 20 months later came Molly. Yes, all 4 true blessings, but we also owned and lived and worked on a chicken farm with Clark's parents. It was hard work. Yeah, having 4 kids in diapers for years and farm work in Montana with 30,000 chickens. Okay, I've been up to my knees in it, and there is no one that walks into our studio that I can't relate to. But in the late 80s, cholesterol really became a fear in the US, a scare really, and eggs were the targeted culprit. My dad, who was an entrepreneur himself, he gave us some money, and Clark convinced me to spend it on a medium format camera. Well, we hatched our new business, and away we went. We really didn't know much about the camera or anything about running a business, but we learned really from trial and error. You know, much like a lot of you probably on the call right now. Well, Clark soon had a pretty good handle on creating beautiful portraits, but I ran Hope Sales and Marketing. It was the same every year. Oh, I hope I have a good sale, or I hope we have a better year than last year. And our other photographer friends, they seem to be running that same system, you know, of just hoping. And so I guess I just thought it is what it is, right? Well, we got by, not always being able to, you know, pay credit card balance at the end of the month, but we were getting by. We really didn't go anywhere. We didn't buy anything. We didn't do anything out of the everyday work and life. We got by. Well, that was until the kids started talking about going to college. You see, we'd always encourage them to, you know, to think big and dream large. And I remember that moment when I realized there wasn't any way that we could put 4 kids through college, no matter where they went. No less the colleges that we'd encouraged them to dream about, talk about sleepless nights, laying in bed and worrying. I remember telling Clark, we need to start making money in this business, or we need to go do something else. Because staying in this business of not making enough and our kids not going to college or fulfilling their dreams, that was just not an option. You know what? I turned into Mama Bear. Unknowingly, I had found my why, and I learned that when the why gets strong enough, that how becomes easier. I realized that life had a way of handing opportunities to me along the road, but too many times I hadn't taken them. I don't know, be it that it seemed too scary, or I thought it was too hard, or just me not being confident enough. I don't know, but I do know that the road to just getting by is very well traveled in our industry. And I had settled for mediocrity. I had settled for average. My self-talk, you know, that thing that we keep talking to ourselves in our head, yeah, I kept telling myself I was too shy, I was too quiet and too laid back to really, you know, participate in a competitive business. You know, I couldn't do face-to-face presentations. What if someone had a complaint? Or what if they asked me something? You know, what would I do? What would I say? But, okay, I'm Mama Bear now. I'm fighting for my kids' future. And I had a why, and it was a very strong why. I was not going to let my fear of confrontation, my fear of, you know, what if they ask me something, I don't know, what would I say, what would I do? You know, I was not going to let my fear of my anxiety, you know, I won't know how to answer. I decided I was not going to let any of that keep my children from their future. You know, surely God had given me more than what I was showing. So, okay, long story short, I found and paid a photographer, someone who was better at sales than me, someone like who was $1 million studio. And I told him, I said, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Tell me what to say and I'll say it. I thought, I'm either going to make money in this business or go do something else, because I am tired of living our life average, just getting by. Okay, just getting by, yeah. And the whole thought of our kids paying for the consequence of that, it made me mad. And the love for my children is stronger than my fear and my anxiety. So it took me years of back and forth. I'd call my mentor and I'd say, okay, I said this, and then my client said that, and then, well, what should I have said? And he'd say, well, you just say this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, my sales got better and better. And, you know, I started with an average of like $450. I remember when I reached my first $1,000 sale, I called my mentor. I was so excited. I could not believe that someone would spend $1,000. And then it was $4,000. And I remember my first $10,000 sale, I reached to take the check and my hand was shaking. I was sweating. $10,000? I couldn't believe it. Well, today we photograph just under 300 clients a year, and my average is 4,000. It's not uncommon for me to get a $10,000 or even a $20,000 sale. In fact, just lately I had a $10,000 sale, and before that was a $16,890 family sale. Are you guys getting this? Are you excited? This could so be you. Who here is ready and excited to get 4- and 5-figure sales? Please, in that little chat area, type me, pick me. Yes, or I am. Okay, yes. Yeah, type it in that chat area. I want to hear that you're out there and that you are ready. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, so why do you need a system? Because before I had a system, it was scary. It was like every time I did a sale, it was like starting over every time. The benefits of a system are huge. It creates a confidence in you that really spreads to all areas of your business. It took away that feeling of being scared to pieces and being so afraid. I found the system really made me comfortable. And a sales system is really no different than a brownie recipe. So here, if you want your brownies to look like mine, we need to follow the same recipe. The recipe is going to show you what the end result will look like. So call it a recipe or a system. It tells you what to do. So this is the recipe to top dollar sales. But don't tell me that your brownies don't look or taste like mine and then say, well, I really didn't feel like putting in the baking soda because I didn't think it needed it. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, so I named my advanced training Show Me Sales because early on, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted somebody just to show me how to do sales the right way. Really, I wanted what I'm showing you guys today. I was hungry. I was desperate. You know, I had kids coming up. Rudy was like a junior, Jake and Abby sophomores, Molly a freshman. And you know what? Desperate sure gives a powerful why to learn how. These 11 steps, they'll serve you for the rest of your life if you'll just do them. I know your time's valuable. I've done the mistakes. I've tweaked the system. I called my mentor back and forth for years to get the words right. I know this is the answer to your prayers. So let's do this. All right, here we go. Step number 1. I have to pre-plan for the sale. I have to sort the images so I know what I'm going to be showing. If I show too many, the client gets overwhelmed and shuts down. And I use ProSelect. It's a great program that not only helps to organize the system and help my clients really envision what things are going to look like, but it makes me look technically capable, which, yeah, really not so much. Well, this seems simple, doesn't it? This is the first impression, and it really sets the mood for the appointment. I greet them, when they come, I greet them by name and with a handshake because I'm creating that rapport. Now, this is a handshake that was taught to me by somebody who knows how to create that rapport, and he taught me that you lean forward, you reach out to shake hands, and you make eye contact, and you smile, and you match their grip, and compliment and ask a question. This was huge for me when I really learned it. And it's awesome stuff. You're going to do this, and you'll be just amazed at how confident you look and feel. This creates a rapport right off. Now I'm going to walk into the showroom, and I softly instruct them where to sit at my round table. Here, I'm really taking soft control of the showroom. And I have a wow image showing on the screen. So you're preparing the ingredients for a great recipe. This makes you feel and look confident. And when you're confident, your client's confident with you. Confidence is a very good thing. It is good stuff, right? These are things that are going to help you step into this role that you're going to take. Now, during the slideshow, I explain that I've sorted and that nothing like retouching has been done to any of these. I want to always be having fun and complimenting. There's lots of complimenting. I want the client to feel good about being with me. And I'm going to be explaining, you know, what they can expect. I tell them what's going to happen during the next hour or so. And here I talk a little bit about the special pricing. And I remind them that I'm here to make sure that they get the best price for what they want and need. I'm also going to really explain and pre-frame the wall portrait art. And I do that by walking up to it and explaining it in detail to really create the value. You'll hear me talk about value a lot. And when I walk up and talk about those things, these are the special words that I've tested over the years. And lastly, as I come back and sit back down at my chair, lastly, I always ask if they have any questions. So if there's any concerns, we get them out on the table right away. So now we start to do the sorting. And I just keep this really simple. I'm always speaking emotion and being excited, you know, giving that value, you know, this has to be fun. And while this is happening, I'm thinking, what can I say to mom and dad that's going to make them fall in love with their family or senior all over again? And this is really important, this part right here, and you're going to want to write this down, is I needed to learn to listen to who's the decision maker, because this is the person who is really going to be making the final decisions on what pose, what expression, what size, and how they're going to pay. During this time, I always want to make sure that everyone feels included. You know, you've had it. Sometimes dad comes across kind of quiet. So I need to pull him into that conversation. And I'll be suggesting possible products, you know, like for a senior, if they're not interested in a panel, I'll remind them that these images would be great for a design book. Here, we're really determining the pose they want to order from, because I really found that we keep coming back to these for the ordering of everybody else's poses, because in the end, these end up being the favorites. Now, another important thing you want to write down is that I need to get the decision maker and the spouse both to agree here, or yeah, it sometimes has come back to bite me. So to bite me. So I need to make sure that, you know, that they are both making that decision. And this is where ProSelect really helps me to stay organized. Parents are they're the main people. You know what? These are the main people with the home that these wall portraits are going to hang on. So I'm remembering to be building value. And you might say, what is this value? Value is, well, it's that thing, that feeling, that emotion or want, and it has to be greater in their heart and head than the money in their wallet. That's value, and we need to be building it. People, we want to make sure that they, you know, that they understand that these are the people that they love, and we have to be kind of reminding them of that. So when you think of value, it's that emotion in their heart that is larger than the money in their wallet, because they're going to exchange us for that. Okay, now when we're talking about the parents' wants here, we're really choosing the main favorites, and these end up being the foundation of the grouping. And I show the sizes in ProSelect, and it really makes it really easy. And I'm always talking about the impact of each size. So I show a size, and I talk about the eyes, and I talk about what I'm seeing here, and I'm asking them what feels best to them, because they're really making the decision here. I never feel like I'm pressuring them, because I show them a size, and then I come down, and then I show them that size, and they choose between the two sizes. Now, another important thing here about the decision maker is you want to make sure that the decision maker and the spouse are both agreeing verbally on the size. So you don't move on until that has been a verbal agreement between the two of them. And once they've made that decision of the size, this works really well. Once they've made that decision on the size where they say, yep, that's the size that we like, now I'm again confirming that with positive value of, you know, how they're going to love it and how it looks and all that kind of thing. And then I say the price of that specific size that we're looking at, and then I follow it up with another value statement. So basically it's a value, price, value. It's a little value sandwich is what I call it. Now, I have to be watching them when I say this, because how they react is really going to tell me what happens next. At this point, I now know what price they're comfortable with, and I know if I can go on and discuss other portraits in the grouping, or if we need to, you know, strategically create their collection using payment plan or discussing sizes, stuff like that. But I'm always talking and reminding them of that value. All right, then we move on to the, you know, other people in their lives. And I sometimes have to, you know, remind them of, you know, the other people that are important, you know, grandpa and grandma, that it's the law. You have to have something for grandpa and grandma. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for them. But when we talk about these things, like for grandpa and grandma, I'll say, do we want to use the same size as what you're doing? Or should we go one size smaller? You know, I learned I can't assume that grandpa and grandma are going to get an 8 by 10. Now, if they do, that's fine. But I've sold a lot of 20 by 24s and 16 by 20s because I've offered it. And then when it comes to mom and dad, siblings, you know, aunts and uncles, that kind of thing, we're talking about, you know, what are favorites? Where do these people live? I help them imagine that, you know, oh, my sister lives in New York, and so wow, this one of us on the Stillwater River would be so exciting, and help her imagine the excitement of her sister having this portrait in her home. And, you know, again, creating that value of what they're doing and the legacy that they're leaving. And we talk about the office, and, you know, here I'll suggest, you know, grouping of maybe their favorites, something different than what they're going to have at home. And I'm confirming and repeating the order all the time and building that value. Now, when a senior order comes along that I'm working with, you know, then that we have to be considering, what does the senior want? Because these are going to be separate from what mom and dad want. You know, we'll talk about wallets, you know, how many, and special friends, and maybe that keepsake 8 by 10. Panels, collages are a big deal with seniors, and of course graduation cards. Products, you know, that are an add-on are great, but if you don't shoot it, I can't sell it. So, you know, that's what I tell the boys. So if Clark doesn't take, you know, the individual images of the two kids, I can't offer a sibling panel. And if I don't have like a variety of the sports images, I can't put anything together for a panel or a collage. And the albums and design books are a really great way to increase sales, but you have to have a variety of images. So these are things you always have to keep in mind. Now at the end, I'll repeat the order and who gets what, and I'm speaking value and reminding, because this reminds them and attaches the importance of what they're doing. So I am speaking that value and reminding them of why they're doing this and the real importance of it. And after I've added it all up, okay, you know what? Doug Box taught me years ago, you say the price and shut up. The person who speaks next buys it. Wow. Wow, I had to learn to keep my mouth shut because I talk too much. And when I would be in the showroom and I would get nervous about the pricing or anything, I would start to give stuff away. The other thing that I learned is I have to be careful about how I say stuff. I had a client and we were talking about, you know, all the things, and I got to the end and I was telling them the total, and I said, okay, the balance is $42.50. And he gives me his credit card, and I said, do you want me to put it all on? And he goes, oh yeah. And so I go to run the card, and it gets declined. Don't you hate that? And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, this got declined. And he said, are you telling me my card wouldn't take $42.50? Oh, yeah. And then of course I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, it's $4,250. And he started to hyperventilate. It was crazy. But what I learned is I need to say $4,250. Well, just so you know, his wife stepped in and said, she was like, no, I knew exactly what you were talking about. And she said, you know, here, use my card or whatever. But anyway, that I learned that lesson. So now you guys don't have to. So you want to say the $4,250. Now, I'm also reminding them of a payment plan, because now, although we've talked about it earlier, you know, when I was telling them all the things that are going to happen in the next hour, this often kind of relieves the client. They can start to make a plan. If they really want it and I've created enough value, they're going to find a way to pay for it. It's just like that camera and lens that you have, or that big TV that you have in your family room, or even that sweet little car in your driveway. you have figured out a way to get what you want. And okay, and the other thing is I had to learn not to cave on price. Really? Really? Do I care more about other people liking me than I care about putting food on the table, saving for retirement, or putting my kids through college? Another thing Doug Box taught me, it's none of your business how much your client wants to spend. And that was something that I had to get over. So I just go forward and say, what card will you be using? Now, at the end, I give them a receipt of payment along with their thumbnails. And I'm, you know what, I'm thanking them and for the wonderful time that we spent together, and of course I'm following it up with points of value that make them, you know, feel confident in what they're doing. We shake hands or give a hug, and I'm going to be sending them a thank you note the next day. And I try to put in there, you know, something personal that we've talked about, make reference to, you know, something that we have, you know, been talking about together, or a place I know they're going, just to make it a little bit more personal. Here is Austin, and many of you may know him. He's pretty active posting in all the groups out there. But Austin started working with me last year after I spoke at Sync. He is such a go-getter. And you know what? It wasn't a week after meeting him that I got this message saying that he had sold 3 24 by 36s to the same client, something he never thought possible. And as you can see here, his sales are now in the 5,000s. I'm just honored to know people like this and that I get to call friends. And like Dan and Alex McClanahan, they are some of those, and they are killing it. And they just shared that I was terrified with sales because I didn't want to be pushy. Well, I think we all understand that. But they went on to say that, but with Rachel helped me realize it's more about figuring out what your client really wants and then just letting them buy it. And that really happens because of a system. All you're doing is nudging them along to the finish line. No pressure and really no arm twisting. And it works. I remember when Travis Gugerin called me and said he bought a boat. And that I was the only one that he could celebrate with. And he just said, Rachel, I bought a boat. And my boys and I, we can go out on the boat. And he was so excited, and he was thanking me. And I was like, no, Travis, you're the one that's doing it. But I was just so excited. And you know what, people, this is what this can do. You know, that's what it's all about. And are you starting to see that this could make a real difference in your life? So, you know, what's your why? You're thinking of it right now. That reason that you know you need to do better. That's your why. Type it into that chat area so that I can see it. As I've shared with you, my why was that I had 4 kids that I needed to get through college. And so all of a sudden, my reason for doing better got stronger. All right. Yeah. Excellent. Because, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. When the why is strong enough, the how becomes easier. Here is Ben. I love Ben and his wife, Sarah. We met them 10 or so years ago when they were just starting out. And as Ben shared here, by listening to what we told them and applying our methods, they have, you know, really increased what their studio was capable of selling. And that's what I want for you. So let me ask you a question. How many of you feel like the last 40 minutes have been great, but it's a little like taking a drink from a fire hose? I know that I talk a little bit fast, but I just want to share as much as I can in this short amount of time. But it can be, you know, a real information overload. I get that. Because of that, I've put together a special training package for you called Show Me Sales. It's a way for you to implement this stuff over the next 4 weeks with me kind of, you know, like I'm holding your hand. I want to ask for permission right now. Is it okay if I share with you what's inside of Show Me Sales? Let me know in the chat area. So over in that chat side, is it okay if we go on and share some of what Show Me Sales is about? Awesome. Thanks, guys. Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Let me go on. This is Show Me Sales. It is a step-by-step training. So it's my exact sales system to really the top dollar sales without fear, anxiety, or confrontation. This is 20 years of trial and error, really, to give you the ultimate, it's the how-to map to not only better, but amazing sales. Let's take a look. Oh, this is really what I wish to have had when I was struggling with low sales, and it was just taking so long. I kept asking myself, how am I supposed to do this? Should I be showing my clients all their images? How many should I really be showing them? And where should I be sitting? Why does it seem like some photographers have couches? Should I have a couch? And when should I be talking about price? It just felt like, if I talked about it too soon, that they just focused all on price. And if I talked about it too late, and sometimes I got to the end and I felt like I had to start over. Well, you know what? I'm going to answer all these questions in this modular. Where to introduce price and how to determine who that decision maker is. I've heard so many times that photographers download the audio and they just listen over and over to memorize my words and phrases. Now, this one training modular is worth $1,495. In the second modular, this is about the senior sale. Okay, seniors are a little different than families. We're selling to mom and dad, but also the senior, entirely different wants. So in this modular, I show you how to not only prepare, but how to structure your sale so that they both get what they want. Plus, how and where to introduce those add-on products in a way it can double or triple your sales. And this was my biggest fear. I hated confrontation, and I just never was any good at it. I would cave far too many times on price. I realized there's really only about half a dozen questions that clients might ask. They ask them differently, but they're really kind of the same. Objections like, I didn't know portraits were so expensive, or I only got an 8x10 of my previous senior, or I only want digital files, or I don't have any wall space, or my least favorite is, oh, I need my husband to see this. Yeah, and there's a few more. But I've so learned that my philosophy determines my income. My philosophy was, I'm just average. I'm too quiet and shy. It's not my fault. It is what it is. But I realized when we couldn't afford to send our kids to college that attitude and mindset of mediocrity was keeping me right where I was. And, now that I'm mama bear, that wasn't going to work for me anymore. I remember thinking, I'm exactly where I choose to be. I've chosen this. Okay, well, this isn't going to work for me anymore, so I need to make a change. And creating my confident mindset helped me move where I needed to go. This training has become a real passion of mine, and it's really the most commented on from all of the students. So let's kind of recap. I'm going to train you on family sales, and I'll train you on senior sales. I'll teach you how to overcome the sales objections. And then there's confidence. This is a real key element, in the business and outside the business. And then there's going to be a tour of our studio. And just those things are $3,788 value. But here's what else that you can get. Yes, we don't do in-person consultations. We do it all over the telephone. How do we do it? This is our exact script to get all the information that we need and give all the information the client needs to get the sale that we want. When I speak, I'm often asked, what does your contract look like? Well, it's simple, and we don't call it a contract. But I'm going to include our family and senior release with the Show Me Sales. Okay, when we talk sales, I'm asked, can you help me set my prices? Well, yes and no. Price is really dependent on your work, but instead I'm going to give you my prices, confidentially of course, but these are my prices and I know them by heart. And there isn't any price list on the table. Excuse me. Because, you know, I found that if I have a price list on the table, now all of the focus is off of value and onto that price list on the table. So I shared this from the stage at Sync, and a few months later, I received an email from Jen, and she said, taking the price list off the table scared me to death. But she said, my sales average immediately went up $200 when I did this. This is awesome. This stuff really works. And I'm also going to connect you not only with myself, but in others who are doing this. I invite you into a like-minded community where we really celebrate wins. Because we know that we get what we speak, everyone encourages solutions. No whiny complaining. We're really here to help. Austin shared, you know, about the images about selling the 3 24x36s to the same person. Gordon, and it was complimented that this was more than he expected. Yeah, you're going to see and feel this is not your ordinary group. So when you get the 4 training modulars, the family sales, senior sales, overcoming objections, and creating the personal confidence, the contract, our scripts, my price list, and access to our private VIP group, that's a total of $5,332 in value. But I can do more. What else do you need? Well, maybe a bonus. Okay, bonus number 1 is 3 fast track webinar, and it's got with question and answer. This is where, okay, yeah, we take that fire hose and we turn it down to a manageable flow so that you can quickly implement. These are really the nuts and bolts of what you need to do right now to see sales increase. This is a new bonus that past students really encouraged me to include. It's very much, you know, like this is step 1. Okay, now step 2. Okay, and now let's move on to step 3. And it also gives you more access to me. Well, speaking of, bonus number 2 is you get 2 30-minute consultations with me. I want to help you. I know I used to call my mentor, and sometimes you just need to talk to someone to get over something so that you can move on. And I'm here for you. You're not going to be left behind or left alone. We really believe that everything we do should be guaranteed, no questions asked, you know, whether it's photography or courses or speaking, and this is no different. Please use my words, use my phrases, use my system. You're safe. Use it for the next 365 days. Let me prove to you that it works. So you get the 4 training modulars, the family sales, senior sales, overcoming objections, creating personal confidence, our contract, our scripts, my price list, and access to our private VIP group. You'll have the bonus of the 3 quick start webinars and the bonus of the 2 30-minute visits with me, which takes total value to $6,581. Well, obviously, I'm not charging you $6,581, but obviously it's worth it. But if you were to enroll right now through our website, you'll only pay $1,595. And hold on, I have 2 very special deals for you who stayed to the end. Remember, just like I promised, number 1 is a gift of $600 off the regular price when you sign up before the end of today's training. So when's now going to be a good time to do this? 2017 could be so great. And number 2 is 2 tickets to my next Show Me Studio Success live seminar in May of 2018. Truthfully, we don't make any money on this event, but I do need to point out that we asked for a $99 for materials and event costs, just to have a, help cover up on that. Wow, that makes this $1,250 value, and it's an awesome and fun time with lots of fun people just like you. We just wrapped up this year's live event a few weeks ago. There were countless breakthroughs that people had. It was very exciting and a fun group where people would just got together and had so much fun, all talking positive and encouragement. So enroll in Show Me Sales Now. You can do the $250 for 4 monthly installments or pay in full for the discount of $995. Just go to www.getshowmesales.com. You'll get immediate access to your member login via email, and you can stream or download from your computer or any mobile device. All right, here's Gary Box. I love Gary Box. Okay, and some of you are probably part of his Inside the Box. And if you ever get a chance to see him speak, you got to go. He's great. Gary said that great sales takes really good photography and right samples and product, but more importantly, it takes knowing what to say and how to say it in the showroom. Yeah, and Show Me Sales has made him thousands of dollars. Darty is a great friend, and he's invited us to speak at Sync a couple of times, and we have a pre-class this next year there, and we'll be in the trade show too. We go way back to when I went to Pennsylvania and taught sales at their studio. You know, if all this program did for you was double your investment with one sale, knowing that you could replicate it at any time, would it be worth it? If all it did was improve your confidence so that there's no more anxiety when you go into a sale, would it be worth it? What if it just increased your sales average by $200, $50 or $500? What if you increased your average sale by $1,000 or $2,000? Would it be worth it? Mine went from $450 to $4,000. You know, why not you? You've heard me talk about Doug Box a number of times through this, and he's been a true friend and a mentor. He said this is like having Rachel in your studio. And truthfully, I do. I have people who tell me that they hire a salesperson and then they just hand them my sales stuff and they say, here, study this and be Rachel. Okay, we're going to end on this slide, but you know, get it now and start watching it this week and you'll start to see increases immediately. We have found that those who practice it see an increase in sales of at least 50% in 2 weeks. I'm here taking any of your questions. Please just type them into us. You know, I was thinking, Rudy and I were talking, there are really false beliefs that photographers have about sales. And these are things that I told myself and others have told me that they felt the same way. So while you're writing in any of your questions, you know, I have to say that some of the false beliefs that I've heard is that clients only want digital files. And you know, the truth is, I found that there are many types of clients, those who change their own oil in their car and those who don't. But our consultation really helps to prepare our clients to understand that we specialize in wall portrait art and really why we believe it's so important. Another false belief, I think, and I said this, was this won't work in my town. And I really, you know, the truth is that this system's helped people in areas of all sizes create the life they want and they need. Creating a success mindset set me on this path to believing in who I am and the true gift of family portraits and how it's something that's important to every family, no matter where they live. Another false belief, I think, is that I just don't have the personality for it. Well, the truth is, I found that with the confidence and with a system, I could be who I wanted to be and have the life I wanted. Another false belief is, you know what, I don't want to sound salesy. The truth is, I felt the same way, but I found that I never feel that way because clients, as I walk them through the system, they just see and order what they want. And I guess probably another one that I think of is I don't need a lot of money. Well, unlike me, these people are, but where I had 4 kids and I needed to have money for. Truth is, we all have people and causes that are close to our heart that need and really benefit from our help. And we have that opportunity to help. So in closing, I just want to thank all of you for the last hour. I really love speaking encouragement and excitement for what's ahead of you. And as you can see, you can create, a really fine living in photography. I'm excited to continue to work with you. And remember, the special price for the Show Me sales and the 2 tickets to the live event are only good on this training. So hop over to getshowmesales.com and get signed up before I close the door on saving and bonuses. This could be that day that things change. This could be that time that your confidence grows and your sales grow, and it makes the difference for your family. So thank you so much for staying and being a part. I love you. I believe in you, and I will see you soon.